NTRM here, and today I have a new video, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to downgrade from iOS 6 to iOS 5. These videos are sort of common because I know how some Apple fans are desperate. Well, I wouldn't say fans, but just people with Apple devices are desperate to downgrade from from a new version of iOS down to an older version, and they can't because there's all these crazy wacky problems, and it gets in the way. And so pretty much I have this Apple iPod Touch 4th generation, crappy Apple iPod Touch 4th generation actually. This particular one, I was at this restaurant, and some of you have probably heard of this restaurant, Joe's Crab Shack. Love their food. Like, really is really good food. And so there was this one waiter who had some devices for me to fix because she heard about how, I fix devices and stuff. And so she gave me these 3 devices: Apple iPod Touch 2nd generation, Apple iPhone 3GS, and an Apple iPod Touch 4th generation. But after she gave them to me, she gave me this number to call. I called the number several different times. The voicemail box is full, couldn't get a hold of her. Then I found out later that she quit her job there, and basically these devices were left abandoned. And so I have this Apple iPod Touch 4th generation here that I haven't done anything with the data on it, haven't restored it or anything. I just looked through it, and it is running a crazy version of iOS 5, iOS 5.0.1, and I know how these Apple iPod Touches can be updated to iOS 6, and I found that these Apple iPod Touch 4th generations, the IPSWs, the downgrade IPSWs for these devices are not signed. And so I just decided, well, go ahead and do it. This is my time to do a tutorial, or basically a guide. And yeah. So anyway, this thing has actually been sitting for freaking months now, and it actually is still live. I pressed the power button, it turned on, and this battery's just on the verge of going out. And apparently, yeah, I connected it to my wireless, so obviously the time is updated. And yeah, my hand's getting kind of tired here. So anyway, first start off with common sense is you're going to need to get a USB cable, and you have to have a Windows PC. And this Windows PC, it has to be running either Windows 8, Windows 7, or Windows XP or Windows Vista in order for this to work. And as you can see, so anyway, so pretty much just going to need to connect your cable here, and then once your cable is connected, go ahead and of course just make sure it's connected to your PC and everything, and I'll set this aside. And I'll go ahead and switch over to screen recording because I know this is crappy. So yeah, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I am back, and okay, so we're about to get ready to start this SHSH Blob dump. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a blob, SHSH Blob, of the current version on your device. So pretty much, this case, it will create a blob of iOS 5.0.1. So of course, to start this, the instructions are right there. I'm going to go ahead and power off this device. And yeah, and just to let you know, this set of instructions is not easy. You could end up messing up, and you might have to do it maybe a few times, because you do something incorrectly and maybe put the device into recovery mode or something else. But if anything like happens, like you go into recovery mode, just make sure to hold the power and home till you get the Apple logo, and then it'll boot back up to the lock screen. So yeah, so now we have the thing shut down, and we're gonna go ahead and hit start on our screen. And just to let you know, before we hit start, you have to wait 5 seconds to get ready. That's the way the process goes, so don't right away just hold buttons. You know, you have to just wait. So yeah, so go ahead and start. Okay, wait this out. Now hold it for 10 seconds. Now hold your home button. And iTunes might pop up after this process, to just be aware. And okay. And then once you get that screen saying downloading essentials, and it's loading and everything, and it's exploiting Lime Rain. So, okay. Got the process going here. And we got some code here. If this damn thing would focus. Sometimes I really want to tear my camera apart. But there we go. We got some code loading here. And then once you get this, you're gonna go ahead and save your SH. I'll go ahead and switch over to Bandicam here real quick, so I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, I am back. Of course, as I said in the last clip. But this time what we're going to do is I didn't get a chance to back this device up. So I'm going to go ahead and back up the data on it. I know that the data is not mine, but just in case, you know. So go ahead and run iTunes while we're at it. Yeah, you can run iTunes while you're running iFaith in administrator mode. To be very specific, I'm going to have this link in the description. And this link that you go to download this version of iTunes might give you a virus. Who knows? So just be aware. But this is iTunes 11. iTunes 11.0.0. The iTunes 11 can only pick up iOS 6 and older Apple devices. So in this case, I'm running iOS 5.0.1. And as you can see, the person's name is on this iPod and the version's right there. And so pretty much before I do anything, I'm going to make a backup, quick backup. It's probably going to ask me about saving applications, which I won't be able to because all those applications were downloaded on a different Apple ID. But the rest of the documents are just going to be processed. So, alright. Okay, I am back. And of course, iTunes is. So I went ahead and did a backup and a restore, and of course, restore on iTunes. I had to use the latest version of iTunes because obviously iTunes 11 currently doesn't do correct backups and iOS updates and iOS restore processes correctly. So yeah. So anyway, right now I'm running iOS version 6.1.6. Yep, right there, as you can see. And so this thing's fully restored, and now we're going back down to iOS 5.0.1. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Usually when you restore your device and you connect it and you just unplug it and connect it to another computer on iTunes, it will show up this is a new device and it will run a backup for some weird reason. But anyway, yeah. And so in a little bit here I'm going to switch back over to Bandicam. And yeah. So let's download this browsing data and stuff, and really don't need that. Go ahead and get done. Crap. Lagging. I'm having technical difficulties here. Okay, so as you can see on my screen right here, you can probably just barely see it, but it does say iOS 6.1.6, of course, you know, as I just said. So once we have that done, that process done, I'm going to go ahead and close iTunes. It is good to have iTunes closed when you go to use the DFU mode Pawner and iFaith, because you know errors can happen while leaving iTunes open, so it's just a good thing to leave to do that. So anyway, you know what? I forgot to zoom in, but yeah. Okay, so now everything's zoomed in and stuff, and yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and hit start. And oh shit. I kind of made a mistake here. I was such a noob. But anyway, I'm just going to go back to the main menu because I don't really need to do this right away after. This computer's a bitch. I swear. Well, obviously I don't know, but I don't think iFaith sees this device connected. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it, rerun as administrator. Crap. I'm going to go ahead, of course, allow it to make changes and crap. I'm going to hit OK and then just let it go. And so then we're going to go ahead and click on use DFU Pawner, basically iRep. iFaith is like a combination of familiar programs. So far, iFaith uses iRep and LimeRain, which I have these separately installed on my computer. And so yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do power down, and then it actually powered down fast. It wasn't even slow. Yeah, so then we're gonna go ahead and hit start. We're gonna wait 5 seconds to get ready for this process, and then we're gonna wait 10 seconds doing the process. 2, 1. Well, obviously it still works while in this process, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here because of course my battery's running low. Now I'll just tell you, you successfully did this process, and then once this process is over, I'll see you. Yeah, so once this process is over, I'm gonna be doing how to do the rest of the process, of this tutorial in iTunes, and get your version on there that you want, and yeah. Okay. Now, once you do the restore process, you should get the iFaith logo with the loading bar. For those who are wondering, is this like jailbreaking? Well, not exactly. What iFaith does is just puts the version on the device, and I believe just leaves the version. It doesn't. And the version is totally. They say that when you downgrade with iFaith, that the version you downgrade to is going to be extremely buggy. But I haven't had much experience with downgrade versions, but I know first off, right off the bat, most of everything is clean. It's not going to be severely laggy. It's not going to be that it goes away when you shut down your device and power your device on. So a full shutdown and a full boot, you will not lose your downgrade iOS. Just power and just simply pressing the power button, putting your device to basically sleep mode, doesn't disturb it at all. You can also install applications on this version. On the downgrade version, you could also use your Apple ID. You could pretty much do everything usually, except that it's an older version, so it'll tell you download an older version of certain applications that you want to download on there and stuff. And yeah, and another thing to let you guys know before this is finished is I know probably a lot of you searching for these type of videos have heard this over and over and over, but basically I'm not responsible for what happens to your device. So pretty much you're doing this process at your own risk, and if something breaks, then it's your fault. Pretty much, yeah. So so pretty much just you're doing it at your own risk, and keep it at that. And yeah, and so pretty much this tutorial has went from iOS and taking a device with an older iOS, making the signed IPSW for it, then updating it, and then seeing how it does updated, and then going back to the original version, the old version, you know. So that's how you do that. And yeah. The other day I actually did the same process with an iPhone, Apple iPhone 4, 8GB Sprint, Sprint CDMA Apple iPhone 4 that needs some work. I posted some photos on Instagram. I had, when I got the iPhone, it obviously was left with a passcode lock on a certain version. It hadn't been touched in a while, and so it was on this older version, and so I went ahead and I'm thinking maybe I should do an SHSH Blob dump on it, and I actually did a dump on it while it was iTunes locked. Basically, it was totally disabled. I guess the passcode so many times it wouldn't even let me put in a passcode, and it was disabled, and I was just able to make a SHSH Blob, and everything worked out, and I was able to go back to iOS 6.1.3 from iOS 7.1.2, and it was really cool. Yeah, so pretty much the process is done here, and the Apple logo, and we have of course our iPod, our setup here, and it's gonna say welcome to your new iPod and stuff, and pretty much it states, as you can see, this is the old iOS 5 setup. Enable location services. We're gonna go ahead and skip wireless. Go ahead, just set it up as a new iPod Touch. Agree. Automatically send. Start using your iPod Touch. There we go, iOS 5.0.1. And one thing to let you guys know is SHSH Blobs do not save data. So if you do this on a device that has a lot of data on it, a lot of personal data that you care about, it's not going to save it in that SHSH Blob. As I just explained, it wouldn't even save the disabled. But the only thing that it will save is, okay, so a long time ago Apple created this process in the background. It was kind of in the background, it wasn't heard of much, but basically Apple iCloud activation lock. And basically what happens is if you have your Apple ID signed in on the device, and you have the device connected to Find My iPhone, and it's locked, and someone else has it, and they go to restore it. Once they restore it and they get to the setup, they won't be able to pass through the setup until they enter in the password for your Apple ID, because basically it's locked to your Apple ID. There was another video on this process. So obviously this guy had I think an Apple iPhone 4S or something. It was running iOS 7 or iOS 8, and he went through the process, and on iOS 6 setup, it told him to enter in the password for the Apple ID. So pretty much that's it, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to leave comments down below if you're having problems. I'll be there to troubleshoot with you, and I'll be replying to comments down below, and if you have any other questions and all that stuff. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video again, and peace.